another sector that has received a wonderful allocation under this budget 2020 is the education sector. We're here with the subject minister, Minister Priya Manickchand. Good day to you. And having returned to your previous portfolio, looking at $200 million investment in the expansion of the Learning Channel and now being in Education Month, what is the outlook for the education sector?
Well, you know, we have the unfortunate circumstance of joining the rest of the world and facing down the COVID-19 pandemic. And that's been a challenge for everybody. We've not been accepted. So what do we have to do? In this period, we have to figure out how to deliver education, minimize the learning loss as much as we can in an environment where we cannot send our children to school in face-to-face, in a face-to-face kind of instruction. And so that's been what's occupying us. So this budget comes at a really nice time for us, where we are able to expand the Learning Channel to instruct. So we're going to have, with this provision here, a digital system that allows us to have 6 learning channels at the same time, which means we could say to our students and parents and teachers, look, grade 1 is going to be doing mathematics at this time on this channel, grade English at this time, social studies at this time. So we could teach all day for entire grades on the various channels. So that's going to give us a lot of capacity and a lot of freedom with what we can do. We're in the process of creating content. Unfortunately, like I said before, very little was done prior to in terms of addressing the needs of our population for the pandemic, to respond to the pandemic. So we're in the process now of creating content as well as trying to upload some of those. The budget makes provision for some of those things, and that's what we're very happy about.
We've also heard about the expansion of the telecommunications sector with regard to ICT hubs and hotspots being established. How will that play an integral role with regard to education delivery?
Well, any kind of ICT expansion would help. We have problems with gathering at this time, so it might not help in this time, but going forward it will certainly be beneficial. We have also in this budget the ability to make sure we buy textbooks for all our children, the core textbooks, so that they have that in their homes. So when we're giving instruction on the channel, we're trying to do a lot of local content, and what happens with that is we can have children follow at home with their textbooks. We're also doing worksheets. Those are things that have to be printed. As you heard the presenter, Bishop Edgell say, Minister Edgell say, we're going to be we're presently in the process, I think it's going to finish today or tomorrow, trying to determine exactly what the school's needs are infrastructurally to be able to have our children return safely, because a return is inevitable. And COVID will be with us for a while from all indications. So we have to make sure when the kids go back to school, they can wash their hands frequently and they have sinks and running water and toilets that flush. We're in the process of assessing that right now. The budget makes provision for us to meet those needs, put in sinks and troughs and flush toilets and so on where we need that. We also have to provide masks and other kind of sanitation facilities. Signage he spoke of, that's important in a school, where you can wash your hands, how frequently you should wash your hands. So the budget really is a budget. It's an emergency budget because unfortunately we've been without a budget in the nation for so long. But it's a particular response to COVID also. So if you look at the theme of the budget, you'll see that in it. For us, that has a huge impact based on what we are required to do, to be able to deliver now and to deliver when kids get back into schools.
And final question with regard to education. We heard about that being removed from private education, and as well with the necessary subsidies and other incentives for public education. What does that mean for the parents directly so they can understand?
So corporate taxes have been removed from private education delivery or service providers. What it means is that we can't instruct how people should set their fees, but we hope that that is going to pass on to parents. If schools have less expenses, then chances are they can reduce their fees or use fees to do make the environment better, delivery better. So it is going to pass on to So that's the purpose for doing this. And of course, all of these things that we're talking about were promises made. The expansion of Learning Channel was a promise made in our manifesto. So once we do that, promise fulfilled. Of course, I don't like checking boxes, promise fulfilled, and we move on. We have to, when we fulfill the promise of upgrading and expanding, then we have to make sure the content is appropriate and that it keeps developing and we keep getting better.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Minister Manickchand.
Thanks for having us here.
It's a pleasure.